I was All right. Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome to Women
Hi.
on Words. I'm your host, Siera London, and I also have author Jackie Renee with us for
Hi.
book chat. Hey, Jackie. And of
Hi.
course, writer Michelle Ingrid. We are
Hi,
so happy to
Michelle.
have you all joining us this Sunday for book club. And I am going to start off by introducing the book to you. So we read The Wedding Date. Can y'all see that? That beautiful. Oh, there it is. We read The Wedding Date by Jasmine Guillory, and I'm going to start by reading the back cover before we get into our discussion. Agreeing to go to the wedding with the guy she gets stuck with in an elevator is something Alexa Monroe wouldn't normally do. But there's something about Drew Nichols that's too hard to resist. On the eve of his ex's wedding festivities, Drew is minus a plus one until a power outage strands him with the perfect candidate for a fake girlfriend. After Alexa and Drew have more fun than they ever thought possible, Drew has to fly back to Los Angeles and his job as a pediatric surgeon. And Alexa heads home to Berkeley, where she's the mayor's chief of staff. Too bad they can't stop thinking about the other. They're just two high powered professionals on a collision course towards the long distance dating disaster of the century, or closing the gap between what they think they need and what they truly want. All right, y'all, let's get into the wedding date. So, this book opens with the cutest meet cute that
Mm-hmm.
I have encountered in a
Mm-hmm.
while. What did y'all think about meeting this gorgeous pediatric surgeon in the elevator?
Well, I enjoyed it. I liked the fact that he was the one in need, not her.
Uh
I loved that concept. Yeah.
Yeah, Michelle.
I actually really love the intro. I love
Me
the way that
too.
they met, and I love the fact that this crazy girl is so busy getting onto an elevator that she didn't even pay attention to the people who were around her. I'm from
I'm
Brooklyn. We
telling
don't
you.
do that, so
I'm
that was
telling you.
adorable. That was adorable, and yeah, that was completely adorable. And I won't lie, I think this is about the third book that I've read where the couple meets in the elevator, and I won't lie, it never gets old. It's such a great meet cute.
It is. And I'm with you. Now, I'm from Florida. I'm not a Brooklyn girl, but you do need to pay attention to who's in the elevator. So, not
Yes.
only does Alexa meet Drew in the elevator, he all up in her pocketbook, okay?
Yes.
Okay, yes, thank you.
Now, that part I was cracking up about, especially like when she moved her purse to the other side.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
After she sat down.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Girlfriend sat down on the floor in an elevator. I was like,
Yes.
that
Yeah.
I
was
was like,
extra too.
okay.
There's a lot
Yeah.
going on in that first meeting. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So this is an interracial romance, and I must say, I knew Alexa was a little bit unconventional when I first met her in this elevator. I'm like, okay, she got this wine in her pocketbook. He all up in
That's
her
a girl that
pocketbook.
carries the kind of bag that I appreciate. A
Okay,
purse big enough to hold a bottle of wine and cheese and
okay,
And
crackers.
crackers,
yes,
yes.
yes. Okay, so she got a tote. Okay, so
Hmm.
this a sister with a tote, and
Sierra's judging,
no, I'm
Jasmine.
not.
Sierra
No,
is
I'm not.
judging. She's judging like
But
she
see, I don't
judges me
carry
and my
big
purse.
bags.
She's judging.
Yeah,
I
I
am
don't
not.
carry big bags. So I
Okay,
can appreciate where Sierra's coming from with that.
look, I don't have a purse that I want to have the wine, the cheese, the crackers in. But anyway, so they get stuck on this elevator. Yes, that is Michelle. Okay, so they get stuck on this elevator, and like Michelle, she have everything in her pocketbook. So Alexa
Ready
got
for
snacks,
anything.
okay, and she got adult libations. And
Hmm.
and Drew starts joking with her because he wanted to be opening stuff. Like, I don't know you like that. Where I'm gonna be cracking open my cheese and crackers to be eating with you on the elevator. Okay,
They were
was that a bit much or what?
Fell
Well,
in
they
love
were
with him right
comfortable
away.
with each other right away,
They
Mm-hmm.
which,
were.
it
Mm-hmm.
worked. It
Yeah.
worked for the story because you needed that. I think if they had that tension there, then the rest of it would have been forced. So the fact that they were comfortable with each other right away actually, had me like, whoa, okay, let
Mhm.
me flip the page.
Uh-huh. Yeah. You know what that told me? That he was cute. Because if he was a booger bear, there's no way she would have been that friendly with him. Am I lying?
You're not. And the truth is, hot guys are
Hmm.
very comfortable talking to people because people very comfortably speak to them. But he's also a
Absolutely.
pediatrician. And pediatricians are like yummy all the
Yeah.
way around. I don't even have kids, and I can tell you, pediatricians are yummy, so yummy because they're sweet.
That is true. They're very sweet
I've
and
never
very
met one that
personable.
wasn't sweet.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I thought Jasmine did a really good job of giving us clues about Drew without telling us.
Hmm.
Like I said, I knew that Drew looked a certain way because she was way too comfortable with him peeking in the pocketbook and then making comments about her snacks and actually wanting to really munch on her snacks. Okay. And he was obviously checking her out because in the elevator, y'all, and Jackie already and Michelle alluded to it, she didn't even notice him at first.
Nope.
Okay. She
Hmm.
just got on that elevator and she's a
Nope.
woman about her business. Okay. So
Uh-huh.
she's focused on what she came to do, which I appreciate because so many times we see this woman who's just enamored with this guy at first sight, but she didn't even notice him, which I'm sure for a guy who looks like Drew, that's a little off putting, right? Like, when you're a
Mm,
hot guy and a woman doesn't notice you, of course you know women are looking at you. And she didn't. And I like that. I like that it was different, even though they were in
Hmm.
close quarters like that.
mhm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. So
Yes.
so they hit it off in the elevator right away. And I must say, I love their chemistry.
Yes.
I think Jasmine hit it out the park with the chemistry between Alexa and Drew when they first meet because they're
Mhm.
total strangers.
Yep.
Hmm.
And he gets off the elevator and their journeys take them in different directions. But I love the way he said her name. He's like Alexa, because I listened to the book too, and the
Mhm.
narrator did an excellent job.
Good
Like
job. Hmm.
Alexa, like if you're not busy, would you consider, like being my date, like my
She was
plus
already
one?
moving closer to that man in the elevator, so
I know, but did it surprise
it
you when
wasn't
she
even really a
said
question.
yes?
No,
No.
It
of
didn't.
course not. A hot
No.
guy
I said
asked
yes in the
you on a
elevator
date.
before he asked.
He was leading up to it already, so she knew, and she had made up her mind before he even asked. So yeah, I think so. I
Okay.
think she made up her mind
Mhm.
before he even asked.
I don't know. So
Girl, come
I was
on.
kind of on the fence. Like I get it. He real cute. And he looked like, you might want to spend some time with him outside the elevator. But I don't know. I don't know in real life. Like if I met some stranger on the elevator, he's like, do you want to go to a wedding with
You've been
me?
married too long. Take it from me. I've been single as long as you've been married, plus some. Yes. What should I
Oh,
wear?
Well,
okay.
and not
Are
only
you gonna
that,
pick me up?
he did a good job of pleading his case in the elevator. He gave the 4 points, right?
He did.
Okay. So, like I said, she had already made up her mind. To me, she was like, okay, if he asked me, I'm saying yes. Yes.
Okay.
So
So
that
I'm
would
glad
be me.
you brought that up, Jackie, because that's one of my questions. So you're in the elevator, eating cheese and crackers with a complete stranger who happens to be a hot pediatrician, but you don't know that yet. And he starts telling you about his ex and that the ex is getting married and he's actually in the wedding.
Oh, wait.
Okay. Not just going to the wedding, like he a part of the wedding party. And he needs a date. Did y'all feel like he was disclosing like a little too much for the elevator guy?
I don't think so. Only because, well, okay, I take that back. Yes,
Okay.
in the beginning, but then when I got to know him and know
Hmm.
his profession, then I was like, okay, I understand. I understand why, he approached it the way that he approached, bringing up his points as to why
Okay.
that whole event was so hard for him.
Okay. Okay. Michelle.
So when I was in college,
Uh-huh.
I once got off a Greyhound bus in New York where my mom was picking me up, and she introduced me to her girlfriend who had just gotten her PhD, an older woman, her like herself,
Mm-hmm.
who had just gotten her PhD. She was waiting for her daughter. And, they hugged, and my mom was telling her how proud she was of her. And then we took the train home. This is at about 12 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And when we got on the train, I said, "So, Mom, your friend, how long have you guys known each other?" She said, "Girl, we met while we were waiting for you." So, no, he did not disclose too much. My mama had a best friend with a PhD that she met while she was waiting for me at the Greyhound. So there is nothing wrong with what he disclosed. I am all okay with that.
That's hilarious.
That was my mama.
Okay.
So no, he is perfectly in line. In fact, I think that he kept a lot back. My mom would have gotten the whole story. So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. All
he
right.
was
So
perfectly
y'all
fine
just
by me.
loving Drew and y'all don't think he
Girl,
disclosing too
Drew
much.
sings Drake in the shower. I'm sure of it.
Okay.
In my
Okay.
mind, I can see Drew singing Drake in the shower.
Okay. All right. Okay, Michelle. I'm gonna turn it over to you on
No,
that note.
no. Okay, so if you're gonna turn it over to me, I have one question.
Okay.
There is a character named Amy
Mm-hmm.
who is the bride's sister. Now let us make point. Drew dated the bride until he stopped,
Mm-hmm.
and we find out that he dated the bride until she was interested in things getting serious, and then he ended it.
Mm-hmm.
Drew used to be best friends with the groom. He never explains why they're no longer best friends. All he says
Yeah.
is my former best friend. I think there's a lot of power in the use of that
Mhm.
word, even
Mm-hmm.
as it isn't fully explained. Because you're in his dude's wedding, you're not the best man, and he is your former best friend. There's a
Yes.
story there that I wish I'd heard. They never gave it to us,
Mhm.
but that's okay.
True.
But at the same time, he is in this wedding. He used to date the bride. He used to be best friends with the groom. And then we have Amy, who is the sister of the bride and the maid of honor. And I'm curious, how would you, as a fake date, have handled Amy when he expressed to you that Amy, well, she doesn't find out till the next morning about the key, but Amy's coming on to this guy at this wedding
Mm-hmm.
who is, and I'm thinking, even if I didn't know Drew that well, I have problems with Amy coming on to her sister's ex who broke her heart.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
curious about your thoughts about Miss Amy.
So there's a couple of things that came that I thought about with that whole interaction once they were at the wedding
Mhm.
and we meet Amy. And the first thing that came to mind, I wasn't initially really upset with Amy, but what it made me think about is this is a group of people that have circular relationships, meaning they date each other, like hopping
Mhm.
Mhm.
around.
Yeah.
I have never been a fan of that. Like,
Never been in
oh,
one of those.
yeah, like we're
Never.
10
Mhm.
friends and like, oh, I've dated two of the guys in the circle and he's dated three of the girls and so it's not my thing, but I could tell just by that interaction that Drew didn't really go high and to the right with Amy. Like he, like stop. But it wasn't anything
Because
like
he had a
super
date.
direct, but it
Because he
still
had a
wasn't super
date.
direct,
No.
and so but as Amy persisted, I'm like, okay, you need to be dealt with, because even Alexa picked up on Amy's, I don't even want to say undertones because she was pretty blatant
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah, she
with
was
what
very
she was
blatant, very
trying to get
clear.
at or
Yeah,
get to
yeah.
or get with
Mhm, mhm,
when it
mhm.
came to Drew. So Amy was not the type of sister I would want for real or for play. I'm just saying.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
Well, even at the after rehearsal celebration, that was the first time we met Amy, and then her whole way of talking to Drew just threw up red flags for me right away. And I'm
Mhm.
glad that Alexa kind of picked up on it then and there. She was like, either she wants to kill you or she wants to see
Yeah.
you.
Yes, very clear.
Yes,
Yeah. She
very
won't in your
clear.
pants very
Yes,
much.
yes. And I was glad that Alexa saw that. So at the wedding, at the reception, when Amy was really just, alcohol gives everybody courage. But
Mhm.
when um when Amy was like really coming on to him, I liked the way Alexa handled it. She handled it professionally. Me, I would have
Mhm.
went sister girl on her, like, hey,
Yeah.
step back, leave him alone. He don't want
Mhm, mhm.
you, you know. But I like the way
Mhm.
Alexa handled it. She was professional. Even though she knew what the deal was, she still handled things professionally.
Yes. We all wish we had a little Alexa in us at
Actually,
moments
I
like
think
that.
Alexa benefited from several things. She
Mhm.
works in an industry that requires her to be nice to even some of the most vile people,
That is
Hmm.
true.
number one. And then secondly, she benefited from the fact that she does not know these people. And that sort of puts you into a certain level. It either
Mhm.
unleashes everything or it puts you into a certain level of restraint. And because of her line of work, she
Mhm.
went into that line of, okay, I'm gonna stand by
Yes.
this line and I'm gonna be the better person. I
Mhm.
wouldn't have liked Amy's chances
Yeah.
behind that building, but at the same time, I did like that Alexa said, I don't know these people. I'm a visitor here, and I'm
Yes.
gonna step back and be a visitor here.
Hmm. So
Yes.
that's interesting that you brought that up because I felt like Alexa played her role almost, I mean, almost too well. Like there was a point where she was actually like defending Drew in some ways with these folks when she found out, like she overheard something in the
Mhm.
restroom
Mhm. Mhm.
that made her question the original story that Drew told her,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
About how he came to be in this wedding. And,
Yeah.
he led her to think a certain way about his ex and what happened with that relationship. And I felt like she was politicking in a way, like just like you said, like more so than just having the skill set. I really felt like she was politicking because she could have like questioned him on that up front, but she didn't. She just slipped right into that role and she just marched out what she was there to do, which I thought was very interesting. Like that told me something about Alexa as well and how she approaches life. Like even when she finds out some information that's pretty contrary to what he
Mhm.
told her, she still toed the line in what she agreed to do. I can't say all women would do that, regardless of how professional they are.
Um, well, I think that her falling into that professional mode was also like a lifeline for her, like her way
Mm,
of dealing with uncomfortable situations, especially she when Drew told her, well, she asked, remember the
mhm,
first time
Mhm.
they
Mhm.
were together about to go down the stairs, she asked, am I going to be the only black person in the room? And
that
so
was interesting
to
too.
me, that's like her armor. That's the
Mhm,
word,
Mhm.
her armor.
Mhm.
That
That's a good one.
professional, yeah, that
yeah.
professional, her falling into that professional way of talking to people and dealing with people in certain situations is her armor.
Mhm,
And so even
Mhm.
like he noticed when that armor was on because he noticed that smile. Remember,
yeah.
like that her
That fake smile.
fake smile, right?
Mhm,
That was her armor. And so even with her armor up, he noticed it. And I like that he
he
noticed it
pays.
right away. He paid a
Yes,
very close attention to her.
he was very attentive. I
He
love that
was
about this
very
character. I
attentive.
really
Yes.
did. He
I
was,
liked him.
yeah, he was one of the
Hmm.
most attentive heroes I've seen in a
Hmm.
while, actually,
Yeah.
just reading across the genres. Um, I like that you brought that point up too, Jackie, about about race. I thought it was interesting considering Alexa's background and where she lives in Berkeley,
Mm-hmm.
California. You lived in California, you're on the West Coast. I thought
Mm-hmm.
that was an interesting question to even ask, considering Drew is, he's a white guy. And I was like, what
Mm-hmm.
an interesting question to ask. And because knowing Alexa, I can't say that that would have changed her approach or whether she was going to go or not with him. I don't know. What was your take on that, Michelle?
So, okay, two things. I thought it
Mm-hmm.
was interesting that she even questioned it because I feel as though a Black woman in a professional career, we don't usually question that. I don't question it. I mean, it's almost understood that in a lot of the circles that you run in professionally, that those are the circles that you're going to be in where you are going to be the rarity. You might be the only person at the table.
Mm-hmm.
Even more so in dating someone who isn't Black, you automatically expect, I mean, I automatically expect I
Mm-hmm.
am likely going to be the only person of color there.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I am the not the only person of color, okay, I hate to say it sounds so terrible, but sometimes the rest are not going to be friendly. Who are you and why are you here? Why are you're
Mm-hmm.
not in our circle? What are you doing here?
Uh-huh.
And so I did like the fact that she told the line number one, because I always think of that as that line that you toe in a place that you are not familiar keeps other people safe.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can just imagine the conversation on Monday morning. Did you meet the girl that Drew brought to the dinner, to the wedding? Because that
Mm-hmm.
conversation would happen if you
Mm-hmm.
act out.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought she told the line well. I I did find it kind of strange that she would even question it. I mean, I thought it showed a level of comfort between the two characters, that she would feel comfortable enough even asking the question, because it's a question that we often either go all in on or we completely avoid. And that's
Yes.
with someone that you know well. So for
Mm-hmm.
someone that you don't know well, um, it showed that there was a certain level of comfort. I automatically felt comfortable with Drew, because if a guy tells me that I used to date the bride and the groom was my former best friend, but I still got invited to the wedding and got to be a groomsman, I'm thinking this is the nicest guy in
Nicest.
the world.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
This is the
Mm-hmm.
nicest guy in the world, or he's got pictures. So I'm going to lean to the side of him being the nicest guy in the world, and automatically saying, okay, I can roll with it. So even when she got the information about Drew and what the so-called real situation about his relationship with those two were, I could see why she would lean on the side of, he's still a good guy, I'll still defend him. Because no matter what the rest of the world is thinking about him, they invited him to their wedding and asked him to
Mm-hmm.
be a
That's
part of
true.
it. And they gave him a +1. Because, as a
Yes.
single person, I'm going to tell you, +1s are hard to come by. Not
There you
everybody wants
have
to
it.
give you one. I've been to many a
Mm-hmm.
wedding where I sat very, very politely at a table by myself,
By
looking at all
yourself.
those people thinking, if I get up and dance, is this going to be okay? Yeah. So I held Drew in high esteem because of the fact that they invited him. And I understand,
Mm-hmm.
I took her cues were right on point with that.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
All
And
right.
even his interactions with the bride and groom, at the after the
Mm.
rehearsal dinner and everything, that just
Mhm.
showed that they
Yes.
held no ill
Yeah.
feelings toward him.
She was super friendly.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very friendly.
Yeah.
And even to Alexa too, like, hey,
Mhm.
okay, you're his new girlfriend. All right then. Hey,
Yeah. Yeah.
congratulations. Yeah.
Okay. Was it
Yeah.
just me, or were they just a little too comfortable with the fact that Drew always has a new girlfriend?
Girlfriend.
It's kind of like
Yes.
Goofy.
Yes.
Where
Yes.
it's like, as much as we hated Amy, we almost understand the fact that Amy's like, oh, this is probably 4-week Susan. So
That is
Mm-hmm.
after
true.
4-week Susan, I could be, 8-week Amy. I mean, it was just
Yes. Very much so.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I think the whole Amy even approaching him speaks to Drew's dating history,
Oh
and
And
that
he
the
yes.
said, thank
whole
goodness she
circle
was
knows
there.
it.
Otherwise, he might have gotten drunk enough to go ahead with it. And I'm like, Drew,
Yes.
you prescribing
Yes.
medicine to people's children. You talk about, I might have
I
just gone
know.
ahead with it. Thinking,
No, you're
don't tell
operating
your
on people's
patients that part.
children.
I know
Yeah.
that's right. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Okay.
Okay.
But doctors are daredevils.
They are.
Surgeons are daredevils. So it's almost
They
part
are
of the
risk
surgeon's.
takers.
Yes. So it
Very
almost
much
goes with
so.
the personality at the same. You know what? Now I think about it, it does make sense he would ask her out in the elevator. That is such a surgeon thing to do. That
Mm-hmm.
whole "I am God." What was the name of that movie years ago where the surgeon was like, "I am God." You pray,
Mm-hmm.
you're praying to him, but you're praying to me. It's
Oh, the
kind of
absence
that.
of malice.
Did it with Alec Baldwin. Oh my God,
Yes.
that movie's 100 years old. I am
Yes.
God.
But I remember
Yes,
that very
yes,
much
I
so.
remember that line. And so, yeah, it's very much a surgical thing, a surgeon's thing to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Jackie. What's your
Well,
questions?
um, can I jump ahead a little bit?
Yes,
Because
please
Yes.
do.
great,
Yes, I know
because
where she's going
I
to.
want to know how you guys felt about the 4th of July party. And
Oh, okay. You
yes,
jumping
the
way ahead.
kitchen.
Okay.
Yes, the kitchen scene, like all of his exes right there.
Okay. All right. All right. Let me lay some groundwork, y'all.
Please.
Cause
Please
cause
lay the groundwork here.
because Jackie has taken us to the fireworks. Okay, so
Woo.
I must tell you, so Alexa had such a good time with Drew, she decided to go back to his hotel room. And
And then had a better time.
I know, yes,
Oh,
and she had
yes.
a really good time. Such a good
All good
time
times.
that
Mhm.
she had such a good time that Drew changed his flight, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
By
He
eight
changed his
hours.
by eight
8
hours.
hours.
Yes,
Mhm.
because he did not want to go. And so they made plans to see each other again. Now, keep in mind, these folks live like 5 hours away from each other.
I am back
Okay.
and forth.
And so they had to get on a flight to see each other because both of them work, like you said, they work hard. I love to
Mhm.
see a book where the characters, when they meet, they don't stop working all of a sudden. Like we so in
Mhm.
love, we don't go
Amen.
to work no more.
Amen. Bills to be paid.
Yes. So I appreciate that Jasmine showed both these folks still got to get
Still
up and go to
working.
work in the morning.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
they get up and they go to work. And so they've been visiting each other on the regular. Okay. And so Drew, y'all already know he a 2 month kind of relationship guy.
Mhm.
And so Alexa goes for a visit, and Drew has been having some thoughts. He's been having some thoughts about the direction relationship is going in because we found out that Amy was expecting more. He overheard a conversation. I'm sorry, not Amy, but the bride.
Where you going with
I
that?
know.
Molly.
The
Molly
bride,
the bride.
Molly.
Miley.
Yeah, she was expecting more for Drew. She thought this was it.
Thought he was about
And
to
Drew
propose.
Mhm.
overheard her talking about that and he ended things. So
Cut the
he
cord.
definitely has a track record. So he and Alexa have been seeing each other for some weeks now and traveling back and
Mhm.
forth. They putting their money where they bodies is. Okay.
I
They putting their money.
like the way you put that.
Okay. They spending some money for their good times. And so he invites Alexa for the weekend and she goes to the 4th of July party. And guess what? Some other women that Drew has dated are at the
Three
party.
other ones, yes.
Yeah, not just one and not just two,
One or two,
but
but
boom,
three.
three. Okay, that's a yeah. Okay, he rounded three bases and coming in for a home run with Alexa.
And Molly not even in this group, y'all.
No,
No, no,
Molly is
no, 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 no,
not in
no.
this group.
Nor Emma. Wait, no, Emma is in the
Emma,
group. Emma is in
Emma
the
is
group.
Emma,
in the
Yes.
yes.
group.
Emma is
Emma,
in the group.
Lucy,
Mhm.
and yeah, okay. So they are in the group. And so because Drew is such a nice guy, of course, the women are talking with his new lady
Mhm.
friend, not his
Mhm.
girlfriend, but his lady
His
friend.
lady friend.
And they are telling right around the 2 month mark, Drew kind of ended things. But he's such a nice
Nice
He
guy.
sent
guy.
flowers.
Oh, and
And
flowers
only
must be
one person.
new. So,
Yeah. Only for one
yeah,
person.
I
Yeah.
would be feeling some kind of way. I'm kind of with Alexa. You know, like you're putting this is a man who makes you feel good when he's with you. He's not
Mhm.
afraid to spend his money on you. He's not afraid to be attentive. But if things get serious, he has no problem sending you some flowers and saying, Toodles, it's been good.
Phew. Yep.
And
Mhm.
so I love what I loved about that scene, and it was really emotional. What I loved about that scene is that Alexa didn't fool herself. She didn't go with, oh, you know what? It's different for
Different.
us.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't do that, and I appreciated her having this very real kind of visceral reaction
Mm-hmm.
to hearing what
Mm-hmm.
these very nice women were casually saying about a man that she really likes. Like, she
Mm-hmm.
didn't dismiss it,
Mm-hmm.
and she really started replaying her own relationship with Drew and paying attention to what he's saying and also what he's not saying.
Not saying.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He
Yeah,
stopped calling
Mm-hmm.
her the girlfriend the minute the wedding ended.
that
She was
is
either
right.
Mm-hmm.
my friend Alexa, my Alexa, or
Yeah,
this
Alexa.
is
Alexa.
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 Yes. I love the
Mm-hmm.
fact that she differentiated it
Yeah, me
between the
too.
ways he
When
calls her name.
Me too.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah. And it was a little hurtful. I hated that she had to go through that. I
Mm-hmm.
really
Mm-hmm.
did.
Mm-hmm.
Because I like them together and I like Drew. But I think you do have to admit what Drew was saying and what he wasn't saying to her,
Same.
regardless
Mm-hmm.
of how he made her feel, how attentive he was when they're together, and where, he's spending money on her or whatever. You think guys do that? They take you out, they're spending
Mm-hmm.
money, they're inviting you to stuff, taking you around as friends. But you know what? Drew's been doing that with everybody,
Everyone. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what hurt too.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, when that whole scene came up, and um, they were all together, I'm like, uh-oh,
Yeah.
something's about, either they got together and they're about to trash him to her,
Hmm.
or they're just, about to just really
Yeah.
give her, tell her everything,
The dirt.
or they're going to be friendly. And I was
Yeah.
more on the they're about to trash him type of side. So I was
Yeah.
surprised at how, even though they spoke highly about him, said he's
Yeah.
such a nice guy, and we ended on a good note. We're all still friends, as you can see. We can all still
Hmm.
hang out.
Mm-hmm.
That
I
circle.
would
Yes.
exactly. I
Yes.
was still, leaning on that, oh, they're about to trash him side, but I was happy that they didn't.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of feelings about this scene.
Yeah.
And my feelings went from one, it's lovely that they all still like him. Hey, Molly invited him to her wedding. But I think the part that bothered me, and maybe it's just a woman thing or a we don't date in the same circles thing, but I found it slightly disrespectful.
Hmm.
Unless you're going to say, hey, can I talk to you for a minute? It wasn't the, hey, can I talk to you for, it was just the like, hey, this is the deal. I kept thinking, there is no way. I mean, I've come from a family full of men. I have lived with my male cousins. I know that the girlfriends did not last. There was never a point where I would pull girlfriend aside and say, hey, look, this is not going to last long. That's not my job. That's not my role. And I found it somewhat disrespectful that they were so openly talking about the way that he broke up with them, in the sense that, oh, so you're next. And I
Hmm.
thought
Mhm.
that they didn't leave room for the fact that that could be a very hurtful discussion for
Hmm.
any woman, especially if you really like a guy. So that was bad. But number one, I'm gonna delete about 10 points on our boy Drew.
Okay.
3 for each plus an extra one just because he was stupid. You do not walk me into the lion's den without telling
Mhm.
me that there are cubs in the back.
Well,
Okay?
see,
Do
Well, he
not
told
do
her
that.
about one. He
but
Right,
told
but
and
her
he
that's the
about
didn't
one,
thing.
warn
Heather.
her. There were
Yes.
3 women there that he had dated, and he didn't warn her that there was going to be any woman there that he dated.
He told
I don't,
her about
Well,
I'm
one.
sorry. He
he
told her
told her
about
about
Heather, who
Heather.
was throwing the
He told her
party.
about Heather.
Yes,
Right.
But
yes,
when
he
he
did.
saw those other women, he should have said, hey, I should probably warn you. I've dated these 3 women. Because it
Yeah,
left her in a position where she got really comfortable with people that he had dated. And I'm sorry, I don't want to do that comparison
I
shopping
don't
together at
either.
the 4th of
Yeah.
July cookout.
Yeah,
Let the
me
Right.
real
neither.
fireworks
Like,
be in the sky.
yeah,
Now,
I.
on the
Mhm,
other side of that, because like I
mhm.
said, I got a lot of feelings about
I
this
see. I
scene.
I
see.
see.
Let us know. Let it out, sister. Let it out.
She She got very angry with him at that event.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, while other people didn't fully get it, that she was angry, I was a bit taken aback that she slipped off of that little, I'm very politically even keel, to
Mm-hmm.
be upset with him and to let it out there. I didn't think that discussion should have happened at the party. I think it should have been, can I speak to you outside?
Okay.
Where I mean, I know we're gonna differ in our feelings about that, but I did not like her feelings coming out there and her reactions coming out there, because while everybody didn't know, Carlos was like, "Oh, he in trouble. He's in trouble."
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
go on.
I disagree.
Okay.
So,
Shock me. You're
yeah.
disagreeing with
So,
me?
so a couple of things. So, I think this is the problem with when you have these circular dating circles where you're trying to bring somebody in, because those
Mhm.
circles have a culture to them, right?
Mhm.
Because everybody's dating everybody, but we all still friends. So they are comfortable with whatever is being said or done. Alexa is new to this circle, so I don't really fault them for drinking sangria, a whole bunch of it. I think Alexa
A
got up to like
whole
5 glasses.
And had a kid.
Okay. Yeah.
more.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Admittedly, it had a
Drinking
kid.
the sangria, and then ladies start to talk, and of course you're there with the popular guy. Like
Mhm.
out of all of them, it seemed like Drew had dated more women in the circle than maybe some of the other guys. So I could totally see how that could come up in a circle like Drew's circle, because they seem to spend a lot of time together. Like I was thinking about that. I'm like, they're both professional, but they both have somewhere to go and something to do every weekend with their friends. Like there are a
Mhm.
lot of
Mhm.
events, right? You
Mhm.
got the
He's
wedding, you got
looking
the
to get out
barbecue.
of an event. Yes.
Yes, yes. So they have a lot of events. So I could totally see that coming up. And honestly, I think for a woman who's dating you, who really likes you, to go to a function and found out you done dated three other sisters up in here, uh, yeah, he lucky he wasn't wearing that sangria. Okay, because I'm ready to claw you all up. Like you should have told me. If you had
Mhm.
the wherewithal to mention one, you should have mentioned the
Mhm.
other two that were
Mhm.
there too. So
Mhm.
Drew, I felt like that's when Alexa, that political, that training that she had, I felt like that's when it really kicked in. Because what she did, even and Drew noticed it, like he knows her fake smile. He knows her
Uh-huh.
fake
Mhm.
smile. And
Mhm.
even when he went to go touch her, she didn't say, "Don't you touch me. You put your hands on me, I'll box you." Nope. She put her drink in that hand so he couldn't even grab that hand. Now,
Or step back.
Yes,
Mhm.
Carlos knows them. So he knows how the two of
Mhm.
them are
Like,
together, that they can't
you in
keep their
trouble.
hands off one another. But I think to
Mhm.
the outside world, it just looks like Drew has a new lady friend. So I thought Alexa did a really good job for everything, all the dialogue that we hear going on in her head and what she's
Mhm.
thinking and her processing. I'm not his girlfriend. He doesn't call me his girlfriend. When we were at the wedding, yes, he did, but that was fake.
That's right.
Now this is us together for real. And he's never done that. He doesn't slip up and call me his girlfriend. I'm just Alexa. I'm
Can I
just one
Mhm.
of these women.
so can I ask you guys a question
Okay.
about your feelings about Alexa? We're in her head a lot.
We
Oh
A
are.
lot,
yes.
a lot. And I will admit that there was one part of her internal dialogue that really grated on me.
Hmm.
So I understand feeling a little out of sorts with a new
Mhm.
guy and kind of like trying to figure your way out. But now we're
Hmm.
thinking about a guy he's booking the flight. He's not just calling, he's booking the
Looking
flight.
at what?
He's asking you to come. He's
Hmm.
being extremely attentive to you. You're not staying at a hotel when visiting him, you're staying at his
His
house.
house.
This
Hmm.
man is, for all
He's in
intents and
her.
purposes, he's
Mhm.
he's in there.
Hmm.
I was somewhat concerned, and I don't want to say concerned. I was bothered
Yeah,
by the
I know where
fact
you're
that she
going.
never allowed herself to just enjoy
Joy.
this relationship.
Mm-hmm.
She was stressed the entire time. There was
Yes.
never a point where she just could turn it off and say, I'm just going to like him and I'm just going to be with him.
Yeah.
Instead, we got her internal dialogue of her every minute of their relationship questioning whether or not he really wanted to be with her. I
Yes.
don't know, but Drew did some things to her that I'm thinking he won't be there. If he didn't, you should have questions.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was very much thrown by the fact that we never got a comfortable version of Alexa, like right up until, and I don't want to give anything away about how the story unfolds, but right up until we get all the way through this relationship, she was never comfortable. And honestly, when she instigates a fight based on her friend asking if he sleep with someone else. She texts this man at work and says, "Are you sleeping with someone else?" He goes, "Not at the moment." Now, in my mind, I'm thinking
That's
he's
not
so
funny. I'm just
adorable.
saying. That's
He's
still not funny.
adorable. No,
That
but
was
here's the
funny to
thing.
me.
The fact that he said it that way, the fact that he could joke about it, to me is all in seriousness saying, of course I'm not sleeping with anyone. Why would you even ask that question? But she texted him at work. That's a phone call. Maybe
That's a
a
face-to-face
full-on paragraph
conversation.
full email. But the idea of texting that and then getting upset by his response when he says not at the moment, to me, if she was going to take it that seriously, she should have treated it more seriously. Do not text a guy, "Are you sleeping with anyone else?" That's a text where you're trying to catch your boyfriend cheating. That's not a text where you're having a serious conversation. So she lost points on that for me. There.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
All right. Sierra London Esquire,
Uh-oh.
I have stated my case. Come up in front of the
Yes,
court
you
and
have.
plead yours. The
You
judge
have made a
wants to
very good
hear.
case. But you know what? I don't think for me, I don't think it's okay to discount that it came in a text. She was serious about it. Like he
In the middle
knows
of the
her.
workday.
And so I'm like, text is an official form of communication.
In the middle of the
So,
workday when he's trying to save the lives of children. Please go
but
on.
still, but still, he knows her. And she came back with a follow up question and he was still joking about it. And so obviously it's something that's on her mind. So I do think like maybe he should have put more thought into how he answered that. Like maybe the first time it was a jokey joke, but the second time she asked, I'm like, you better quit joking and answer this question. So, okay.
Jackie, please,
Here come Jackie.
Here,
please.
well, okay. You're saying he knows her, but he knows her when they're face to face. He doesn't know her,
He does take face
via
to face.
text. He doesn't know her because when you read a text, that's your own interpretation. It may not be what that person is trying to convey. Now, when she has that fake smile on, he knows she has that armor on. But a text message, he can't see her face. He can't see if she has that fake smile on, if she's serious. No, I'm with you, Michelle. No, that
And
is not
Jackie,
something
because I'm
you.
gonna take this directly to the court of Jackie.
Okay.
That man
Come on
laid
with
so
your
much brick
kangaroo
on the
court. Come on.
weekend. And he a doctor. When was he gonna find time? That man needed a break. He was laying bricks all weekend long.
I get it. He was laying bricks. Even more so why he need to ask this question if you plan on adding to this foundation. Hear what I'm saying?
You know what it
Hear
is?
what I'm saying?
Here's the problem that I had with it. Alexa is a very tempered woman. Very tempered woman.
Mm-hmm.
But in at least two of their arguments, she went from 0 to 60 like that. Like it was not, she was not her tempered self. She was showing a completely different version of the woman that Drew sees on the weekends, a different version of the woman that he's sleeping with. And she throws this question out there. And I don't think he ever said anything that would make you question if he was sleeping with someone else. I mean, he's excited to see her. I mean, I'm thinking that if he's seriously sleeping with someone else and he's giving that person as much attention as he's giving her, he doesn't have time to communicate with her during the week to say, I'm coming this weekend. I mean, the other woman would have like pieces of his time and he's willingly giving his time. I think that she was very much in a situation where she was arguing against something that was very clearly in her face. This man is making time for you.
Yes, I agree with you on that. But where I applaud Alexa is, as women, I think it's dangerous to make the assumption because a man is spending time and money that you're the only person he's sowing time and money into. I applaud her for asking the question because too often we assume things. And I'm glad that she didn't. I'm glad that she felt confident enough to ask the question. Now, I do agree with you that uh, where you were saying it was a little off-putting about Alexa always questioning herself. It bothered me too that as a Black woman, especially in the world where she works in, when you're talking politics, and there's not, politics is getting more diverse, but we notice it because it is getting more diverse. It's not, as diverse as it could be. It's not as representative of the country. And so it did bother me that her being in a room with non-Black women specifically, that she felt so inadequate, whether about her size and their blonde ponytail. And it was always kind of this stereotypical, of course, a Black woman would feel insecure if she's in a room with, this stereotypical Barbie-like woman. And I don't agree with that because that's not how I live my life. So that part to me, and Alexa walked that out in almost all of their interactions. If there was this little Barbie doll look-alike, person in the room, somehow she started to question, well, why would he want, this, full-figured, curvy Black woman? And the way they described her, I guess she's like Beyonce's complexion, because her sister talked to
In
her
my
about
head,
dyeing her
I
hair
visualized
blonde.
a woman that sort of is like a toned down, like extra professional job woman version of Beyonce.
Yeah.
Like that's what in my head, that's what I saw. I saw a very
Yeah.
curvy woman.
Yes.
Because her sister even said, you could pull it off. You look like,
yes.
I kept, that's where my head went. And honestly, the only time we ever saw someone use her look against her was when Amy was trying to make a point of, oh, I saw that dress, but wouldn't look good on me because I'm skinny. And I thought it was interesting when she said, well, if you got them, flaunt them.
Right.
And I thought it was interesting that she could have that response, but that it wasn't real.
It
in
was
the
not
sense
true.
like, granted, I was like in my late 30s, early 40s when I really found the power of having like boobs, and I wanted everybody to be like, hey.
Yes. Yes.
You
Because
got
the
them.
truth of the matter is, even
Yes.
when you're skinny, you're looking at women with big boobs and you're like, I want some of those. So I thought it was very surprising that she didn't have, I wanted her more often in the story. I wanted to hear how much she loved her assets.
No, she
Yes.
didn't. She wasn't
And I was
body.
disappointed that she didn't love her assets. I mean, she loved her assets when Drew was loving her assets and he loved her assets. But I was kind of disappointed that she didn't love her assets when he wasn't.
Yeah. She's constantly comparing herself, not
Yes.
to all women, but in this particular book, to Caucasian women.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, to the women
Caucasian
that he
women.
supposedly dates. And I thought it was interesting because his friend says, let me guess, when he says he's bringing someone to the wedding, his friend says, let me guess, tall, blonde. And what was the other comment that he made? And big boobs, right?
Or fake boobs.
Or fake boobs.
Big,
and he says, wrong,
fake boobs.
short, Black, real boobs.
Real boobs.
And I think on several occasions during the book, Drew is very body positive for her.
He is
extremely
He's
body
wonderful.
positive. Like I was the one thing I would say, as I said, disappointed that she couldn't enjoy that, because as the reader watching him enjoy her, I'm like, yep. Look what he likes.
Yeah,
like, I'm more the woman that walks into the room thinking, look what he likes. He likes
you can tell in bed he's a giver, because he kept telling her, tell me what you want.
Yeah.
Like, tell him tell him what you want.
I'll tell him. I was thinking the same thing. I'll tell him.
This is a man that loves women and knows how to love women. I was like,
he adores women.
Like I said, he's singing Drake in the shower, y'all.
Yeah. He does. He loves women. He actually, even when he ends a relationship, he still wants those women to love
I
him.
love him.
And
Mm-hmm.
and the reason why you
Like
know
him.
that
Like
is
him.
because when his former best friend starts dating Molly, he like, I'm kind of not
He
okay
has
because
feelings about
Molly
it.
kind of like mine, like
He thought, what did he said that he thought she would be there when he was
he
He
was
was
finally
ready.
ready.
ready. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like,
Yes.
that is so
Oh.
good. That is so
Mm-hmm.
good. He
Mm-hmm.
doesn't tell her, baby, I'm not ready. He breaks up with her thinking
Yes.
she'll still be there. And all these women, 3 women, did you have any doubt that they would date him again if given half the
They
opportunity?
would.
He said, I
Oh,
think I
they
might be
would.
ready. Would you like to
They
date again?
would.
They'd be like, yep.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, they might have crawled
Mm-hmm.
all over each other to get to him.
I agree. I
Crabs in
agree.
a bucket.
That was
So
Pulling
really
each other down.
interesting.
I must
Mm-hmm.
ask you this then, and this is a piggyback on Jackie's question. So when they have this 4th of July blow up,
We back there.
yes, we back there. Because there's a lot happening there
Yeah, a
because
lot happens.
Drew gets a call and he has to go to work. Okay, because he's on call.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked Alexa to stay. She's so angry at him and she's
Mhm,
disappointed and she's hurt.
mhm.
But he asked her to stay. How do you
Please,
feel
please don't leave.
about
He does.
her
Please don't leave.
actions
He said,
in
please
that
don't
moment?
leave. Okay. So is this the part where you need good Michelle or real Michelle? Because
I
those two
need
girls
both.
have different answers. I'm gonna let Jackie go first.
Go ahead, Jackie.
I was surprised that she stayed, honestly.
Mm,
Only because, any other time he asked her to stay right where you are, she always moved. So that was kind of expected. I was expecting her to pack up and just be gone. The fact that she stayed told me that she didn't have closure yet.
mhm,
And she needed that closure before she left.
mhm,
And when she left, she thought she had closure, but she didn't.
mm. Okay. All right. Bad Michelle, where you at?
So I'm gonna tell you, the bad Michelle was gonna stay.
Okay.
Bad Michelle was gonna do exactly what she did. The difference is,
I know what she
bad
did.
Michelle, when all is lost, bad Michelle throws the kitchen sink. What do you want? What do you really want? And that was the moment when she had him. I think she had him in a moment where he would have told the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and then he
Hmm.
might have begged for some more.
Hmm.
I think that was the moment when she could have said, Drew, what do you really want from me? Because if you want more, I need to hear you say it. Otherwise, you should let me go now.
Hmm.
There's some decisions that need to be made here. And I don't know if any woman in Drew's life has ever said, I need to know. I think they're all just so happy to be with him. And
Yes.
we've all dated men like that where you're just so
Mm-hmm.
happy to be
You
with them that
just
you just
like them
like,
so
I just
much.
want to soak up as much time as I can. And
Hmm.
very rarely does someone actually say, what do you want from me? And
Hmm.
you know what? 99.9% of the time, if he hasn't told you, he's walking. But at least you know and you hear it from his mouth.
Yes, I agree with you.
And I thought that at that moment she would have been strong enough,
Hmm.
even after she did the dirty. She'd have been strong enough.
Even stronger after doing the dirty.
I don't
Like,
know,
do you
girl.
want
It looked
more of
like
this?
Drew's the kind of guy that leave you a little weak. But you have that moment where you're thinking that she was strong enough to ask him the question and get the honest answer and deal with it because she left without an answer.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Yeah, I
She
think that's
needed
the
that
part that kind
closure.
of got me in that scene, which is why I brought it up. I thought uh, that was an opportunity for Alexa to kind of put, I don't want to say put his feet to the fire, but just to have, like you said, a direct conversation about their relationship
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
because she really does want him. Like she
Girl,
wants this
I
relationship and she's
wanted him too. And
disappointed.
I was on the outside looking
I
in.
know he ain't bad. He ain't bad to look at. And, you know what he doing.
Pediatrician.
I know he got the long stroke down,
No
but
art on his walls, which means it's waiting for you to decorate. Am I the only one that does that?
but yeah, I don't know. It kind of reinforced. There's a couple of things that Alexa's been doing throughout the book besides that whole body image thing. And that's all this time she's been waiting on Drew to love her. Just
Oh.
waiting. She says yes, she says sure. And I felt like this was her opportunity. Tell this man what you want. Ask the question, put it out there. Because everything to me has been on Drew's terms. Nothing has really been on Alexa's terms. And, it's like, Drew wants this. He wants me up there. I'm going. I want him to come because he wants to come. So he'll come. Like, Drew can just kind of float in and out of these women's lives as he wants
And
to. Like, you
nobody
get that
asks
Mhm.
that feeling and
questions.
nobody holds him accountable.
Nope.
So to me, I'm like, you love him, you care for him, put it out there. And so I really didn't want her to leave the way that she did.
Yeah.
But
Well, well, not to cut you off, but for
No.
me, I saw some things that Drew did to show her how much he cared for her, like how different she was from some of the other girls. Like when he found out his patient had leukemia, just how much that weighed heavy on him. And
mhm,
he
Mhm.
immediately went to her.
That was a moment.
She
I
was the
know.
person he needed at that time. So for me, Drew may not have verbalized how he felt, but
Mhm,
in many ways he showed it. And I was kind of upset with him for not telling her that he changed his flight, that first time. I was upset with him. He had the perfect opportunity to say, "Hey, I'm showing you that I'm into you because I changed my flight for you."
mhm.
He was doing things for her. Like that time they were in the bed and he wrote his name. He traced his name and
Oh,
her on her back. He was showing
That's
her.
my love
She just
language.
she just
I love
mine
that.
too. But
He was
I
so
get
sexy.
I was I was upset with him for not verbalizing it. And so was his friend. Oh, I love Carlos.
Carlos.
I
I
love
do. He's hilarious.
He's
Carlos.
He's
book
a good
two's
best friend.
hero.
Yes,
He's
he
book
is.
two's hero.
Yeah.
Yes. Even his friend was telling him, "You are so stupid. I can't
You
believe
need
you
to
are so
go to
stupid.
that
Tell her.
girl.
Yeah.
Tell
Tell
her.
that woman. Yeah.
She needs to hear it." But that was the one thing about the book that kind of, had me
Yeah.
go. He
Mm.
showed it, but
Mhm,
sometimes,
mhm.
you need to hear it. And she needed to hear it, but he just didn't do that.
But
Yeah.
it's so realistic. A very attractive man with a lot to offer, and women are just so enamored with the opportunity to be
Just be with
there.
him.
And then you meet that guy and you find out he married someone, and you're like, how? And you realize at the end of the day, it was the woman that said, poop or get off the pot. What you want?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And I think that Alexa had a lot of power there and didn't even realize that she had so much power
She
there.
never operated in it. That's
Yeah,
how I felt.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She was
I
powerful from the very beginning. This man
mhm.
got off in an elevator and said, Would you go to a wedding with
Alexa.
me? You don't take
Yeah.
any random woman to a wedding. That's dangerous.
See, that's how I feel. But maybe that's the woman in me. Like, you don't just be scooping up some random chick, taking her to people's weddings. But
Nah,
maybe that's how
weddings
women
get
think.
people thinking.
Guys, y'all need to chime in and let us know. Yeah, you do pick up random chicks to take to weddings. I
Okay,
don't
how proud of you? How proud of Alexa were you? I was super proud. That woman did not plan to stay the night. When
know. Oh,
after the wedding, she was going home.
Mm-mm.
He
I
was like,
love that.
Mm-hmm.
she didn't have
Mm-hmm.
anything to wear. She didn't have any pajamas. He asks
She
her to
didn't have
stay, and she has to
underwear.
make a decision. And I love the fact that she did not just assume, I'm gonna spend the night with this
I
dude.
know. I
Yeah,
like that
Mm-hmm.
she was
too.
like, I'm gonna make him work for it. I'm
I
gonna make
know.
him
And
work
underwear are
for it.
overrated. Yeah, I'll just say that on Alexa's behalf.
But I want to know all that rolling around on the ground they were doing in the park. How did he not know until he took her home?
He was like,
Yeah,
Whoa.
I
and we'll
love
never
that.
look at a bedroom wall the same way.
I know.
I love it.
Yeah.
Drew had a good weekend on what could have been a bad weekend. He had a great weekend.
Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. So, our final question: what did you think about Drew's grand gesture at the end of the book?
I'll let you go first, Michelle.
Well, okay, so I don't want to give away too much because I think that the reader should enjoy it. But I thought it
Yes.
was very sweet that he took something that she does all the time
Mhm.
and put that in there. And then on top of that, like we talk about, this man made himself available. And I love that. I
Mhm.
love that he made himself available. I love
Yeah.
that he paid attention to the things that she loves.
Yes.
And I love that when it came right down to it, he pretty much said, like, he, I don't want to say too much. He put it on the fact that I will be there. Like, I'll be
Yeah.
there for you. Like, I love that about him. It sealed the fact that this was a good guy from the very beginning. And I felt in a lot of ways a great deal of the conflict of the story was drawn out of her own insecurities. And it once again proved that he was a genuinely good guy, except for that one time
Mhm.
when he got mad.
Yeah.
But I almost was like, okay, at least he didn't blow all the way off.
Well,
But it
He
was
blew
almost
up a lot.
understood why he was so angry. He didn't, yeah,
he held that one in for a while. Come on now.
yeah.
He
Yeah,
held
he
that
did.
one in for a while.
Your turn, Jackie.
um, I like the fact that he not only used his actions,
Mhm.
which he did from the get-go, but he
Yes,
used his words. He finally learned that he needed to use the words because that's what she needed from him.
she did.
Even though
Yeah.
he never, even though she, every time he asked her, tell me what you want, and she did not verbalize that, he finally figured it out
Mhm.
and he verbalized it. He
Mm-hmm.
told her
Yeah.
exactly what she needed to hear. So yes, I
Yeah.
I, I am in favor of his grand gesture. Very much
Yeah,
so. Very much
yeah.
so.
I agree with you. What I loved about Drew as a character is Drew is he's a man of action. Okay. He not words, but of actions.
Mhm.
And like you said, Alexa's love language is different. She needed
Mhm.
to hear the
Right.
words. But all the way, even at the end, he loves seeing her happy, whether
Yeah.
Mhm.
it's donuts or coffee or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Like he just loves
Mm-hmm.
seeing her happy. And he does that all the way up until the end. And I actually love his actions at the end because she didn't see it coming.
Mhm.
Yeah, she didn't see it coming. And I love how comfortable Drew is at the end, like once he makes the decision, he's just comfortable in it.
Comfortable. Mhm.
He's such a contrast to her because he's very comfortable with the skin he's in, and he's very comfortable in his approach with Alexa. And honestly, I saw why when they did have that blow up, why he was so confused. Like they speak two different
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 love
languages when it
languages.
comes to
languages.
Mhm.
Yeah.
communicating how they feel.
Yeah.
And he was like what? Like I don't get it. Like I think he actually said, "I'm confused."
He does. He does say that. He does.
Yeah,
Right.
and so I so got that about Drew. He was very well done. I really enjoyed my time with him on the page, and I'm looking forward to Carlos's story, especially after our discussion. Yeah, y'all are
Mhm.
making me want to go back and visit Jasmine's
Oh,
world.
Carlos, I want to know what happened.
Yes, I
Yeah.
want to be in the room when it happens. The room when
Girl,
it happens. The
don't think too
room
much.
when it
We don't
happens.
want to pay for the rights.
Okay, so that is Women on Words Book Club for August. Obviously, we had a good time and we
Oh
enjoyed
yeah.
Jasmine Guillory's The Wedding Date. So, Michelle, what are we reading for September?
Okay, so I put a list into a bag, a bunch of books I've been interested in reading that have been sitting there for a while, and I came up with The Road to Rose Bend by Naima Simone.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So that's what we're reading for next month. I have to admit, she's a sort of new to me author.
Okay.
And I read a short story that she had done for a podcast and loved it. And so I'm looking forward to reading a full length book. This one is going to be a little bit more emotional for us next month. So we're taking a little bit of like, this book was a lot of fun this
Mhm.
month. And so next month's book has a lot of emotion. So I don't know if we need tissues. It'll be interesting to find out. But
Okay.
I'm
You
looking
want to share
forward.
the cover with us?
Oh, darn it. I just showed the cover.
I mean, like the back cover. Like you want to
Oh,
tell
well,
us
I
what?
don't have the back cover.
Oh,
Hold
okay.
on.
Well, let me hush up. Okay, I'm
I
asking for
might be
too
able to.
much.
Why do you put me
Okay.
on the spot like that?
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So next month, I'll read you the back cover when you come back next month.
Okay, so next month we're going to be reading Naima Simone's The Road to
To
Rose
Rose
Bend.
Bend.
The Road to Rose Bend. So y'all go ahead and grab it now, and we'll see you all on the third Sunday of the month at 3 p.m. Jackie, you coming back?
Of course I am.
Okay,
Of course
Jackie's
I
gonna be
am.
on the show with us. Yay, we'll be ready.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Until next time, be amazing, be wild. We'll see you back on Thursday when we'll be interviewing an editor. We'll be interviewing Jenny Chappelle, like Dave Chappelle, Jenny Chappelle. She's an editor that'll be talking with us on how to edit our books and how to interact with an editor and how to get the best out of your edits. So we will see you all on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye, everybody. Y'all two stay on the line. All right.
Okay.
Bye now.